What's up, guys? Just wanted to take a moment to give a quick shout out to Tennessee Hills Brewstillery for being so hospitable. All the staff was great. Bartenders were awesome. Thank you guys so much. Go check them out this weekend and tell them AUA sent you.
Also, personal shout out to Danny Smith. Thank you for everything. You did great on the podcast. Thanks for letting us sample all the beer.
He's a great guy.
He really is a great guy. So
very knowledgeable as well.
Very, very knowledgeable. Very knowledgeable, very passionate about what he does. Anyway, till next time.
Deuces.
This is AUA. Y'all stay safe, stay thirsty.
Enjoy the episode.
Peace.
All right, welcome back to another episode. Today we're back at Tennessee Hills Brewstillery in Johnson City, Tennessee. We're with the head brewer, Danny Smith. So thanks for having us, Danny.
Oh, thank y'all
thanks
for being
on here. Pretty excited. Got some beers. So guess we're just gonna drink some beer and just have bro out a little bit. Honestly,
it's good to me. Sunday fun day.
So Sunday fun day, absolutely.
Better than the Sunday scaries for sure.
Yeah, those are for Monday.
This is great.
You like it?
Which one was this? The Goza?
That's the Goza. Yeah.
The Goza. That is so good. It's honestly like
all you're missing is a lake.
Literally though. Oh my god.
Sours are so good in the warm weather. I don't know, like
it's so smooth. Like it's not sour right off the bat. It's like
Is it the salt that makes it like so refreshing in the?
Some of the salt. There's actually a new strain of yeast that we use for that one. Like we talked about earlier, yeast produces alcohol and CO2 during fermentation. That one actually makes lactic acid, so it sours itself during fermentation. And
no way.
Lactic acid.
So you really don't have to do anything. You do.
Sit there and
you do a lot actually.
He just has to do everything.
I work for a day and then watch it for a month, hoping it turns out right.
I feel like that's kind of the sucky part about the whole process.
I would just be nervous.
You have to wait so long before you can even try it. Like that's what sucks.
So is there any way to know if it's going to turn out good during the process, or you just got to wait till the end product?
We taste it almost every day along the way and make sure that it kind of lines up with what we hoped that it was going to turn out like. But some of the processes that we talked about earlier, like checking the pH, has a lot to do with it. As long as the pH is in the wheelhouse of what we're looking for, at least at that point we stand a chance. As soon as it starts getting too low, we picked up some sort of infection, and at that point it's one of those, hopefully you don't have to dump it, but sometimes it has to go.
That's tragic. Well, cheers, by the way.
Cheers.
Final.
So, you're talking about infection?
Oh, do you want to re-up? You can get another one if you want. Feel free.
I'll go ahead and I'll just finish this one then while you're up there.
Oh, well, I was going to get 4 honey blondes for everybody.
Oh, sorry.
Pay attention, Connor.
All right, so what made you want to start, or what made you want to be a brewer? And like, how old were you when you got started in the process?
I started in 2015, so 29, 30-ish, and it was a hobby. I was spending a lot of time on the golf course. It was expensive, had nothing to show for it. I spent a lot of time fishing. It was expensive, never had anything to show for it. Started home brewing, and I ended up with 5 gallons of beer, so the wife stayed much happier
and that was
that way.
Like you brewed your own thing.
So what did
like
you just get?
Own thing?
Did you get like one of the homebrew kits that you can?
Actually, a buddy of mine was doing it quite a bit. So we did all grain, but it was a 10-gallon stainless steel pot and a Gatorade cooler that we put a false bottom in, and I've still got it. It's archaic really cool. As could be.
Yeah,
and there were no pumps. There was very little science to it at that point. But
is that something, that cooler, is that something you think you'll keep?
I think so. Like, I thought about trying to sell it, but hopefully one day it's going to be a cool little relic.
Yeah. Oh, I think so. Absolutely. I would keep it. I mean, that's how it literally got you interested in it, more or less.
And a lot of the recipes that we have on the board started there.
Yeah.
Literally.
They really did.
This shirt he's wearing is literally a $7 sweater from Walmart, and then he got the little iron-on stickers. So
just because it's nice to like visualize something. Once you can visualize it, you can I don't know. It's just easier than picturing in your head versus once you see it.
So that will probably be something that we keep.
I'm definitely going to keep this.
Absolutely. I was going to ask you about one. I want one whenever there's more than one available.
Yeah, whenever we're trying to figure it out right now. But everywhere we're looking, you got to buy them in bulk. Mm-hmm. And it's like, I want to see it before I commit to buying it. So
Okay, so do you come up with the names yourself? Like, I see all the names over there. Is that like you, or is it a group effort?
me and a group effort. That's
Okay.
my least favorite part about the whole process.
Really?
I would call them all $6 and be done. But
You got to come up with
Makes
the creative name.
Yeah.
yeah, they and a few of them have kind of specific meanings.
Right.
Like our Hefeweizen that I know you guys tried the last
It's-
time that you were here.
Oh,
I love that beer. I thought it was
I
so
wish
good.
I would, yeah.
So it's
so good.
16th star Hefeweizen. Tennessee's the 16th state in the union, so we're the 16th star, and every bit of wheat and Pilsner malt comes from Riverbend Malt House down in Asheville, and it was sourced from Clarksville, Tennessee. So we're trying to keep it in-state and as local as possible.
Right.
That's really cool.
I did not know that.
But yeah, we should probably publicize that a little bit more. But yeah.
So fun fact for the day. Oh, I don't know if you. What are you looking at?
You were talking.
Puma. All right. What is your?
What
What's
was
your?
the fun fact?
The fun fact was the Hefeweizen.
Oh, I thought you were going to hit us with a fun fact.
That's what I thought.
Oh.
You said it. That's why I was looking at you. I was like, what's the fun fact?
So, do you have? What's your personal favorite on the menu? Do you have a personal favorite? You have to have a personal favorite.
If I wasn't proud of it, it wouldn't be up there. But I tend to stick around the Big Honey Blondes, the American Pale Ale, and the Rugged IPA. And then this summer, I'll get back into the Sunrise.
Those are
when I'm
like my
drinking.
3 favorites.
All right.
You did good on them.
IPAs are good. I'm just not big on stouts. Stouts are not mine.
Oh, yeah.
I like stouts when it's cold.
Yeah,
And then I
it-
can,
It's definitely a cold weather beer.
It's still hard for me to drink like a 6-pack of them, but
Yeah.
I do love a good stout.
Yeah. Same here. I've had a few.
So, is the process for the sours way different than the regular beers, or is it pretty much the same? Like you said, it.
Not that one. There's a lot of different techniques you can go about to get to a sour beer, but the sour VCA yeast that we use on that one, it's just like brewing any other beer and just being patient and monitoring. That the sour VCA produces the lactic acid, which is going to make it sour, and so it's that one's not a whole lot different.
Interesting. It's just, I guess, like you said, the ingredients that make it
Oh yeah.
come out different. Maybe.
Yeah, we do have the Himalayan rock salt and the fresh ground coriander, which is true to style for a goza. But we don't no fruit. There's that beer lends itself to fruit. We did a small batch of where we aged it on fresh strawberries, and that was excellent. But you pick up enough citrus from it that I feel like you don't need to. You're just a little bit too much if you fruit that one.
Yeah.
So what, do you have any crazy new ideas like in the works?
So
Oh yeah, like in your back pocket you haven't told anybody about?
There's one that I've been circling for a while, and I can't wait to hear people pronounce it, but it's called the Piwo Grodziskie. It's a Polish beer. It's made with all wheat, but the telltale of
What
it.
service?
Look at them.
What service?
It's
No,
a
you're
bottle
good.
service.
Thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you.
But it's a Polish style beer. It's low in alcohol content, but it's all wheat. But the trademark of it is some of the wheat has to be smoked with oak.
Smoked?
Yes.
That sounds
And we have a surplus of oak bourbon barrels that have been dumped
right.
recently, so we're actually going to smoke the wheat with our bourbon barrels and then turn it back
sounds
into,
so good.
And it's not going to be smoky like a rock
what's-
beer kind of thing,
I was
but it's
about to
just
say,
going to be
what's-
like a sweetness from the smoke, but
Okay.
low alcohol and just.
And it was called
crushable.
what?
Piwo Grodziskie.
Piwo Grodziskie.
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 Can't wait to hear people pronounce it.
Oh,
They're just
for-
reading
That's
it.
going to get butchered.
I'm just going to say, just give me the Pivo.
Everybody's going to say Piwo because it's Piwo.
Oh, 100, yeah.
Where is that? What'd you say it was? Polish?
Mm-hmm.
Polish? So how long does that one take to make?
It'll be an ale, so typically roughly a month from the time I
that's not
brew it
bad.
till it's in the glass. But we'll also partner up with Riverbend Malt House down in Asheville, and they've got a smokehouse, so they'll have the wheat. It'll all be wheat from Tennessee, just like it's in the Hefeweizen, and then smoked with S.E. Callahan bourbon barrels.
So do you
And
smoke it just like you would smoke like brisket or something?
Pretty much.
Really?
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
How long do you smoke it?
That's a Riverbend question.
That's fair enough. So, you talked about earlier whenever you gave us a tour of the whole place. It's a lot more science goes into it than I personally knew about. I'm not going to lie, which was really cool.
Yeah.
What step in the process is your favorite? Like overall, like what is one thing that you're like, oh man, I can't wait to test these pH balances.
No, that's a Dave question.
Okay.
Yeah, our brew chemist. Yeah, he'll handle the pH.
But I assume in the process, the whole thing, you're like, I do enjoy this specific aspect of it.
The part that I get most excited and the most nervous about at the same time is whenever I see somebody come into the bar and they ask for a sip of something before they order it. Like, you can get a flat
Tasting
pour,
it.
you can do all that, but you get a sip of it. I know that I'm trying not to make eye contact with you, but I'm watching. And
I didn't even think of that. That's probably really hard to, like, even right now, like, there's people in the bar and you're sitting here and you're like, what if they hate it?
Are you good at like reading people's face when they? Because people try to.
But I mean, I guess it genuinely all depends on preference. Like, I don't like dark beers, so I wouldn't order. Although I did like the chocolate raspberry stout. That was great.
We'll get that one dialed in a little bit better next time. But
I thought it was great. Somehow Luke didn't taste the raspberry. I don't know. I think that's a problem on his end, but.
Well, yeah, definitely, because we've done beer reviews before, and I don't know what I look for when I drink a beer, but I'm just generally shocked that the chocolate was probably my top one, honestly, because I don't do chocolate anything. I hate chocolate.
yeah.
It was so chocolatey. How did you do that? How did you get how was that so chocolatey?
So we actually we made our base porter, which is the Tavern in the Valley porter that's on the wall right now, and then we split it into 2 batches, and then we added chocolate and raspberry puree to it.
No way.
Let it sit and blend and kind of mellow out and do its thing, and yeah, that was it. Honestly, we were supposed to sit on that one, and that was going to be our Valentine's Day release.
Oh,
but,
yeah.
After we tasted it, after it had been aging for a little while, it was like, yeah, we can't leave this in the cold room. And
literally.
Ironically, we sold out of it on February 13th.
It was good.
Hey, it worked out then.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it worked out.
It was good. It literally tasted like a raspberry cordial. It really did.
Yeah.
Literally. It was really good. So is there one, like, say you get the batch and then it just, like, it's not usable, so you literally just have to pour all of it out?
That's why we do pilot batches. It's a lot easier to dump out, 15 gallons if it doesn't work out. Fortunately, we haven't had to dump a full batch yet.
Well, that's good.
Our CIP process is pretty rigorous and detailed. So
that would be a very hard thing to do.
I won't be able to be here if somebody has to dump a batch. I'll be here, but I'll be up at the bar.
So I know I asked you this earlier, but do you plan on canning or bottling? And because right now it's just in-house, right?
Yeah, we're tap room only, about 99%. But we have 2 more 30-barrel fermenters coming in, which is huge. Most of our fermenters are 10-barrel right now. We've got 1 30-barrel, and if we're adding 2 more, we'll be able to do 3 batches into 1 tank.
So then you'll have enough production that you can keep what you need for here.
I'll have my 4 fermenters to keep the tap room going,
and then you'll be able to
900 gallons of 3 different styles of beer that I can put into cans, and then we'll start expanding our footprint a little bit.
So are you going to wait until you can can everything that you have and then sell it, or just kind of can what you can and sell it as you can?
We'll can our top 3 right now, which is the Sunrise in the Hills, the Lager, the Rugged IPA, and then the Big Honey Blonde.
Those are your top sellers?
Mm-hmm. And every now and then a few others will creep in there, like the Cream Ale was our best seller last night. We had a super busy Saturday, and I was very surprised when I checked the numbers this morning and the Cream Ale was on top. But
I tried to try the Cream Ale last time I was here, and the keg tapped.
Okay. So we've got.
Oh yeah, you did. I remember. He was like, it just went out.
I like a good Cream Ale, but
yeah, we've got our base model Cream Ale, and then the one that we've got on right now, we aged on white peaches. So we've got a white
peaches.
Yeah. So
that sounds like a summer beer.
Yeah, for sure.
That sounds great. I love a good late day with beer. I've recently just got into summer shandy.
Oh yeah. The Lonnie Googles. Yeah. They're onto something.
They really are. I agree. That shit's so good.
So we do our own take on it. In Germany, they have what's called a Radler, where they'll use either a Pilsner or a Hefeweizen, which is what we use, but they'll fill the glass up 90% of the way and then top the rest of it off with a lemonade. And
the beer itself?
Yeah. Like I don't do a whole lot of beer cocktails or mixing beer with anything. But we actually have a recipe where we'll cut the lemons in half and grill them, so it adds that extra layer of like caramelization and sweetness to it. Put that on top of the Hefeweizen. And
I bet that's so good.
That sounds so good. I
Sounds great.
So how do you decide what your next, like once you make a recipe and you're like, that's great, how do you decide what the next thing you want to move on to? Is it just what hits you, or
it's it's seasonal quite a bit. As soon as it started to get cold, the stout took off, and it kind of got caught in a bad spot because the stout was gone, and the rest of it was in the tank. So cold weather started and we didn't have a dark beer offering. So
do you have to start pre-planning?
Yeah, we're on to spring beers now for sure.
Oh, you're already.
Yeah,
so they'll be out or ready by the time hot weather's here.
Yeah. So we'll, like I was telling y'all earlier, we've got a double IPA that's in the tank now. That's going to be our first one. Maybe not as much of a sessionable beer, but something you'll drink two of and need a drink of water before you drive home.
Because there's a lot of beers that we've talked about. There's beers that I can easily down a 6-pack at the lake, but there's some beers that I'm like, I could not. They're just too heavy. I can't drink a whole 6-pack of this beer.
Yeah.
So this Gosa, this is dangerous in a glass, honestly.
Yeah.
Same with is it Hefeweizen or Hefeweizen?
Hefeweizen.
Okay. I think
So
I told you wrong.
it translates to yeast and wheat. So Weizen
really?
means wheat, and
That-
all the character and the essence that you get from the Hefeweizen. Some people pick up banana, some people call it citrus, and then clove or black pepper.
What is that? It's not in what you like.
It's a byproduct of fermentation.
Really?
So the yeast
So
does
it's
that
just-
all by itself.
I get
that's
a
very
lot of
interesting.
banana whenever, but the Hefeweizen, that's one of my favorite summer beers.
Yeah.
I've only tried a couple. They're kind of hard to find sometimes, but yours is great. I loved it.
Thank you.
If that one is canned for the summer, I'll be buying it.
I'll make you some. Well, we've got the crowler. I'll get to send you out of here with some 32-ounce cans today.
Oh, you have growlers?
Crowlers. So we fill up a 32-ounce can and actually seal it up.
Oh. That's pretty
we
cool.
don't push growlers because in my opinion a growler is good for 12 to maybe 24 hours. And
Yeah.
if you open it, you got to drink it all.
Yeah.
But you
Right.
got a 32-ounce can, so it's 2 pints.
Dude, if you're talking about we could actually seal it today, that would be.
Oh yeah, no doubt. We'll get you all taken care of.
Oh my god, that's so
Dude,
cool.
That would be so cool. So how does it make you feel whenever like right now you have customers
You see
sitting
all
here at
these
the bar?
people drinking
How does it
your
make
beer.
How does it make you feel to see people enjoying what you put all your hard work and time and effort into?
It's humbling. I'm just glad that people are here and enjoy it, and that's all I'm shooting for. I would like for you to enjoy one. I would really like for you to enjoy 5.
I just think it would be so cool to sit back and be like, you don't know what I went through for you to have this in your glass. This is so cool from thinking about what you gave us a tour of, all of that, and I'm sitting here
I
drinking.
feel like it must be just such a cool feeling to look at someone drinking this beer and know that that's
Now,
you.
I'm pretty sure I aged 2 or 3 years in the week leading up to our grand opening because I've made a ton of beer before I became affiliated with Tennessee Hills, but it was never my creation and it's. I'm shy, so putting yourself out there. There's websites that are designed to bash what I'm doing.
Yeah,
Literally,
Untapped, whatever. But
Well, that's how we feel doing this because whenever we came,
it was hard. The first time we
Yeah.
did, when we did this the first time, we had to sit in the car for a minute and try not to talk ourselves out of coming up and setting all this up at a table. It was tough to even start the podcast, but that was a huge step.
no, I'm glad you guys did. Thank y'all for picking here.
I'm glad we did too.
oh yeah, no, that's what I was saying. We said everyone here was so great, everyone was so genuinely nice.
Yeah, I gotta. On that note, I gotta shout out to our staff. We've got an excellent staff here.
Please,
Louie and Cass took
yeah.
incredible care.
They were
of us that
great.
night. They did great.
They've been here since day one. Devin and Sydney are awesome, and it's weird coming to work not dreading what you got to go do and not dreading the people that you're going to be around.
That makes a
It makes a
huge
huge
It do
difference.
matter for sure.
It really does.
a huge difference because I have a friend right now. She doesn't really enjoy her job, and she genuinely she dreads if it doesn't matter if she's off for 14 hours, she counts down the clock and she's like, I got to be there in 8 hours. I'm like, dude, Generally,
terrible feeling.
generally,
That's
it's no
rough.
way to live. Like that sucks.
That'll ruin every Sunday
It really
for you.
will.
100%.
If you're cringing about Monday.
Literally.
Don't get me wrong. I'm mad when the alarm goes off on Monday, but that's about the only time.
So what are your like? How many hours do you put in here? I don't know if you have like a set 9 to 5 or is it just?
It fluctuates. We don't have climate control in the brew house, so during the summer, when
really?
I've got the
No.
several tanks, it could be 100 degrees in there easy.
Man, I didn't even think of that.
So what do you have to do to keep them?
Come in at 4:30.
And
in the morning?
Yeah.
But what do you
4:30 to 5.
do? Just play with the temp in the warehouse or what?
There's no
Or like in there.
there's no temperature control in there.
We have fans
Oh.
that blow hot air at
So
you.
he's saying he has to get here early in the morning. He literally have to beat the sun before it
Pretty
comes up.
much.
Oh my gosh.
But it's not bad. It's I don't really have it varies, depending on what we're doing that day. But if it's for my comfort, if I come in at 4:30 and brew a batch and clean up and everything's checked off the list, then I'll go home at 2.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
also if there's stuff to do, I'll be here for 16 hours. And
Damn.
not mad about
So
it. either way.
what part of the year is the busiest for you?
We're just starting to figure that out. We opened in July of last year, so this part of the year is uncharted territory for us. I think December of last year was the busiest month that we've had.
Yeah.
But January is historically the worst month of the year for bars and breweries and everything.
People just like not.
Everybody's trying to do dry January. And,
Oh yeah.
New Year's resolutions and blah blah blah.
Yeah. I never got into all that myself.
Oh no, I tried dry February once. I made it to the 6th.
I never even tried it, so you better not do.
I tried the dry January as well, and I made it honestly 2 weeks. And I know this sounds bad because everybody's like, "Oh, you just can't go with the alcohol." That's generally not what it is, and that's like part of our whole name. Like right now, like everybody's just like, "Oh, you guys just enjoy alcohol too much," and I'm like, "That's not it." Like, there's nothing wrong with just having a genuine conversation over a beer.
Over a beer,
like
yeah.
just like drinking a beer and just like everything can be drinkable. Like.
I don't drink to get in a good mood. I drink because I'm in a good mood.
It's like a social.
Yeah, no,
it's
exactly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
it's-
social
it
aspect.
is very
It just
social
adds like a
aspect.
layer of like the camaraderie and like you can like this. We're talking about beers and just like having conversation. Like,
And
it's
like
nice.
you're trying to do dry January, and you go to have dinner or something, and somebody offers you a beer. Oh, I'm doing dry January. I'm gonna turn it down. I would fail. I'd be like,
Yeah, I don't drink on Mondays. I drink water on Mondays.
So what is your go-to beer if you go out somewhere? If you're at a bar or like you go somewhere?
If I go into a brewery, the first thing that I'm going to try and I'm going to judge them on is a pale ale.
Oh shoot! So do you actually go to other like just?
Oh yeah, anytime I'm anywhere outside of this area, yeah, but I try to find any and every brewery that I can.
It's actually kind of smart too because then you can like kind of like try their product and be like, okay, like I could do something similar to that, or I could like
I could beat
test.
it.
Yeah, I could
What are they
test
doing
it.
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
could beat that. Yeah, kind of
Yeah.
interesting.
have you been
actually.
to Asheville?
Oh, I love Asheville. Yeah.
So have you been there and compared their stuff against yours?
oh yeah.
Well, obviously his is better.
I didn't say it. But no, Asheville Green Man Brewing is one of my very favorite breweries.
Green Man's
they're
good.
just
That
rock
place is
solid.
awesome.
It's beautiful. They do everything right. So one day I want to be like Green Man because cheers for them.
I agree.
I've never
Shout
had a
out
Green
Green
Man
Man.
that I didn't.
Green Man
enjoy.
is. We went there recently. We didn't. I wish we could have. Audio, video, so I wish we could have somehow had it on file because Luke almost didn't make it back from Asheville. But
What happened was.
Yeah, what had happened was there's so many like great breweries just all mashed into one area. And so like it's just so hard not to go to each one and
Yeah.
like get like 2 or 3 beers and just try to get a flight.
Drink that much
Yeah.
beer, like you're just there, you're drinking, you're like, I feel great, and then all of a sudden you're asleep.
That's what it was. It creeps on. But yeah, no, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, I've seen me do it.
Literally. What's your highest percentage of alcohol beer that you have here? I don't know if I looked.
We've got a few that are in the 7.5% range, but the double IPA that we just released a pilot batch of, and the full batch is coming out in the next few weeks, is going to be 8.5%.
So I know this has all to do with fermentation, but like how do you get to like 8.5 or like 5.5?
A lot of grain.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. So
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
To interrupt you. Do the hops make the beer more alcoholic? Like the more. Okay.
You've had debatable conversations.
I had a manager at a liquor store that I used to work at, and he told me. I actually just thought of this. I kind of want to ask you. He told me that the term India Pale Ale comes from So when the people were coming from India to America, they would store the beer on the ships, and to keep them from going bad, they would just keep dumping hops into it. Well, he said it preserved it, but it also made it more alcoholic. So I kind of want to fact check a little. Probably just something he heard and passed along, but
he got a few. The version of the story that I'm familiar with, like he touched on a few of those bases, but the India Pale Ale, the story that I know, and I wasn't there, so I can't attest to it.
I wasn't on the boat.
But back when Britain was the superpower of the world, they were controlling the spice trade, so they had outposts in India. So to get from Britain to India, they were selling all the way around Africa, and the beer was going bad. So hops have a natural bacteriostatic quality to them that like inhibits bacterial growth and keeps beer fresh. So they figured out if they hop the damn it out of something, then it's going to stay fresh, and then their soldiers will actually be able to drink it in India.
So he was,
but it has. He was close. It has zero. It has zero
does
to do
not
with
affect
alcohol
the,
content.
Okay.
No, it's all flavor and.
It does
how
make
it's
it more
perceived.
bitter, though, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because I've heard like the longer you let something sit and ferment, like the more alcohol, like the higher alcohol content it's going to be.
It's kind of yes.
Okay.
My goal is that I want some sugar left so that there's some sweetness to the beer to balance out the bitterness from the hops.
So if it ferments for too long, the sugar goes with it. Correct?
Yeah, it ferments the sugar, so it's going to be very dry, hop water flavored.
I've recently honestly, this past year during, or I guess 2 years ago, during quarantine, like I really got into the hoppy beer because I didn't like hoppy beer. Granted, I never tried it.
But he lives with me, so.
Yeah. Drinks it.
Yeah, and then now I work at a liquor store, and so I just try a different thing that comes out. And then I went to, I don't know if you've ever been to Libation Station.
Oh, absolutely.
John City.
That place is so cool.
They have a wide variety of a lot of things. So I would just go in there and be like,
Oh, I have a shelf in my fridge designated to single bottles that I get from there. And
that place is great.
Any
cool
beer
store.
that in my house that they want, except for that shelf.
Don't
touch it.
Don't touch the shelf. So how do beers get, like, dank? Like, I mean, Sweetwater has a beer literally called 420.
Yeah. Yeah, what makes that literally marijuana smell?
They add terpenes.
They have what?
Terpenes.
Yeah, I've actually heard that term before.
It's kind of similar to like an essential oil, I guess, from a marijuana plant. But
So it literally has marijuana.
it doesn't have the psychoactive part
Right.
of marijuana that you're searching for. But
Just like the aroma.
yes, exactly. But also, hops and marijuana are like the closest cousins that they could be.
Oh, really?
No way.
So yeah, a super hoppy beer, it's not going to be like, burning a bowl, but it's going to have the same calming, relaxing effect. So
I didn't know that.
Yeah, so
The more you know.
if it's a day when I need to get out of here, but I have time for 2 beers, I'm going to drink 2 IPAs and reset, and yeah, it's just very calming.
So this is a really weird question. I might not make it in because it might just not come off the way I want it to. I have a friend, and his mom drinks like 2 beers before she goes to bed, and it just like mellows her out and just like I guess makes her sleepy. What is that in the beer process that like makes that happen? I don't know if do you know?
I would like to know what beer she's drinking before I answer that.
Honestly, I think it was a Bud Light.
The same,
It wasn't
same
like
active
a-
ingredient that's in NyQuil that makes them sleepy.
Because I know beer is like a downer anyway, but
Not if you drink enough.
that's true. That's very true.
There's a window
There's
there.
a fine line. Yeah, there really is.
You can drink through the sleepies, but then if you drink too much, it's just permanent sleepies.
Yep.
So how did you know? Most people be like, well, I haven't yet. How did you know that you officially because I'm sure when you started out in your garage with your buddy, you had in your head, you were like, I know one day, like, I want to be doing a certain thing. How did you know when you were like, I manifested what I wanted to be doing, like you've made it, more or less? So I'm sure there's a lot more you want to do in your career and life aspect, but
I don't know. I feel like I'm.
I know it's a
pretty much
deep question.
I was about to say, is this what you envisioned when you started?
Absolutely.
Yeah,
good.
because you started that in 2000
I started brewing in 2015.
in your
Well,
garage.
I was actually going to my buddy's house in 2015. I bought his brew system in 2016. And
So from brewing in a garage to here in 7 years, that's
Dang, that's
That's pretty good. That's something to be proud of, for sure.
Yeah, no,
I mean, you were in a
I'm very, very
Gatorade
proud.
cooler. So.
Yeah. Is a great mash tun. Don't talk shit
Literally,
about my Gatorade
I think you
cooler.
should. I think you should actually. I think the next beer name should be called like Gatorade Cooler or like.
Oh, I can see my can
Garage
design
beer or
right now
something.
that looks just like a Gatorade cooler with a brand name on it.
Dude, that would actually be really sick,
That would
honestly.
be. That would
Like,
be.
imagine just a beer on the shelf that looks like a Gatorade cooler. That would actually be so cool.
Yeah, delete that. Don't put that on there.
Yeah, I'm telling you, somebody would run with that because that's a great idea. Like, I'm not kidding.
Yeah.
Would you love to have your own thing, like, sitting on a shelf that's like Denny Smith's, like, because I know, like, Steve, like S.E. Callahan, they have their own product on the shelf. Is that something that you would love to do?
I want to elevate Tennessee Hills as much as I possibly can.
Absolutely.
If my name is somehow affiliated with it, then just
Well, you've got
I'm happy.
you've got Danny's Irish Stout up there.
I was
so-
outvoted
Oh,
on
yeah,
that.
you do. You're already.
I was outvoted on that. That was not a name that I was going to pick.
Nuh-uh.
But they said
So I
Danny's
would've
an
been all
Irish
for that.
name, so
No. I was actually going to ask you, did you choose for your name to be on that beer?
no.
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 Do you
if
like
you
that
had
beer?
if you had a
Oh, I
beer
love
that
that
you
beer.
Okay.
if you had a beer that you've made that you would prefer your name to be on, like what would you choose?
I think the stout is appropriate. That was honestly one of the last recipes that I developed in the garage that I was brewing in.
Oh,
no
really?
way.
You made it in the
Once.
garage?
Mhm.
That's cool.
And we didn't do a pilot batch of that one here. Like I was confident, like that each specific ingredient had a very specific purpose, and it checked all the marks. So there was no pilot batch of that one. It was 700 pounds of grain, and let's fill up a fermenter. And it's going to be our year-round dark beer. It's light, it's dry, it's
That's so
Irish. Like if you want a dark beer during the summer, you can put a few of those down and not feel like death.
That's literally
cool.
so crazy to think that you started in your garage and now people are sitting here right now enjoying your product.
Yeah, it's humbling.
That's crazy.
That's
Because, like, I mean, I guess in your head you envision, but, like, whenever you were in your garage, you probably didn't think that, like, this would be, you know, people would be.
Which 2015 was like at the boom of breweries. You know,
Oh,
breweries
really?
were opening up all over the place. Probably as high as it got as far as new breweries opening per capita, and it was a market that I was not. You know, I'm a home brewer. I'm not ready to jump into that and compete with these guys who've
Right.
been doing it their whole life. But I just became consumed with it.
But honestly, I think that people that start from, like, where you started almost honestly have more knowledge than the people that are way high up in the system, honestly, because then they, like, because you can just hire somebody. You know, if you have a big enough brand, you can just like come in and do it, and they're like, "Oh, I brewed this beer," but you don't know, like, you don't have the passion for it. You didn't start from where you did.
I think that people just starting or people that are still new to it probably have more passion for it than people that have been doing it for 40 or 50 years, you know. Knowledge-wise, you know, I don't know, but I do think there's more of a passion to it when it's still new.
Yeah, you're head over heels about it.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because alcohol is
agree.
not going anywhere, so, like, why not capitalize on the fact that, like, why not make money off it? You know,
Yeah,
like,
exactly,
essentially
yeah.
the bottom line, like, you know, you
We
want to make
survived
money off of
Prohibition,
it.
didn't we?
Literally.
Hey, we tried Prohibition. It didn't work too well.
True. So
The
how
people,
did
the people said no.
because obviously it was a factor. How did COVID affect everything? Like how did it affect it?
Personally, at the time I was the assistant brewer for JRH, which was the brewery that was here, and JRH had been around for 3 or 4 years at the time. You know, there was a positive upswing in everything that we were doing, and then COVID hit, and it just kind of pulled the carpet out from under everybody. So we did the best we could. There was several days where we were actually able to deliver beer. So I was masked up and gloved up and driving around, dropping 6-packs off to people that were, you know, the people that were supporting us and keeping us going. But it wasn't a sustainable business model.
Yeah.
And,
Chat to do. You know, I mean,
yeah.
I guess you just kind of had to, like, adapt to what was happening.
Yeah. Just like everybody.
All right. So I know that you have like you're here predominantly brewing beer like a lot of the time. What's a day off for a head brewer of a brewstillery?
Day off is
You're probably still the mine's probably still running. I assume.
it's always
It's always
towards
beer.
next week, but it's we call it quality assurance.
I know what that is. I've heard of that. Yeah, absolutely.
All right, Daniel, I got your stout here, so
Okay.
One
You
sip
know,
review.
one sip review.
That's so dark. Is there like a color additive in that, or is that just strictly the ingredients that make it
Yeah.
that
So
dark?
how do you make a stout? Before I get into this, what makes it so dark?
A very small percentage of the grain bill is black patent malt. So we
Is it just for color, or does it add some taste too?
the black patent is going to give you a little bit more of a coffee-like dryness. So chocolate malt is another one that would add that color that was in the porter, and that's going to give it a chocolatey flavor. And it's all the same malted barley that is, they add the water to it, let it sprout, they kill the germination process, and then they kiln dry it. And
really?
The amount of heat and the amount of time applied to it during the kilning process is what gives different characteristics. So chocolate malt has been damn near burned, or black malt or black patent.
Is there like a sweet spot that you're like, we have to get it out now, or the whole thing is ruined?
That's a maltster question.
Okay. Okay. Well, I guess honestly, really for any beer, like an IPA, like a session beer, like is there a sweet spot in any of the?
There's certain requirements for each style. Like a West Coast IPA doesn't get caramel malt or crystal malt, and there's just rules that kind of guide you to get to where you're going for a beer that's going to be recognized or that qualifies for BJCP standards.
I was gonna ask earlier too. You were talking about, by the way, I don't know if the camera might pick this up, but we were talking earlier. Beer can literally get a bacterial infection.
Yeah, that was wild to me.
So is there because you said you can pick up on it when it's in the vat, right?
Yeah, in the fermenter.
Is there a threshold where you're like, this is too much? Like, if it's a little bit, can you deal with it, or like, what do you?
Oh yeah.
Like, if you test it and you're like, we got a little bit of infection going on, like bad bacteria, what do you do?
Hopefully send it to Jonesboro and let them distill it.
just
So what if you're 15 days into the month process and you test it and you're like, oh shit, we got way too much bad bacteria, what do you have to do?
At that point, there's no saving it because the bacteria has established itself. It's overtaking the yeast, and
I guess you can't give antibiotics to a beer. So
no.
So what makes the bacteria happen? Is there just like a certain thing, like that maybe there was a step in the process that was kind of like fucked up, or like was it?
So the tail end of the brewing process is boiling beer. So when it's boiling, and as long as it's above 180 degrees, your risk of picking up infection is minimal. But whenever we put it through the plate chiller, it goes in at 200 degrees and it comes out at 67. So the plate chiller is that thing has to be clean. If it's not, you're going to know real fast.
Right. Because that's kind of the temperature where bacteria
grows.
thrive. Yeah.
Dark, oxygenated, sugar, still.
It's like the perfect environment.
Yeah, exactly.
Literally. So is there a way to tell, like right now we saw back there you're fermenting beers. Is there a way, right? I guess you could just do like a little sample out and put it in.
Is that more of the chemist side of it, or is that like your side of it?
Both.
Yeah. So I was about to say, you've been in it long enough, you probably can tell if a batch is not usable.
If it's not right, yeah. Fortunately, it hasn't happened on a big scale. There have been a few pilot batches that have gone down the drain that nobody ever heard or
like
saw
you
from
said,
again.
What is it, 15 gallons is the pilot batches, right?
Yeah.
A lot easier to
30
waste.
pounds of malt and,
A lot easier to waste that than...
So whenever you have the pilot batches, is there a thing that's like you might put it out to the public and let them kind of get a feel for it, just that small of a school?
The double IPA we just released on Wednesday. I just had 2 sixtels of it, so a sixth of a barrel, so 5.5 gallons, some-ish. But we released that on Wednesday. I was really hoping that it would be here whenever you guys got here, but it was gone as of Friday afternoon.
Hey, well, that's a good thing, though.
It is a good thing.
It's job security.
It is a good problem to have.
Job security for sure, 100%.
So this stout, just on the nose, smells like a fresh bag of coffee beans.
Could I smell
honestly.
it? Let me smell it. I'm not going to taste it, but
it smells like coffee.
I didn't want any chocolate in it. I wanted it.
I don't
to
even
have
get-
Do you
a
use
full-
coffee beans or no?
So we did a few, not in that.
No.
The porter, we pulled a few gallons or a 15-gallon batch off into one of the small fermenters.
It's a massive ass dog.
That's a horse,
Jesus.
but but no, we pulled 15 gallons off, and then we actually pulled a little bit more out of it and made cold brew coffee out of the fermented beer.
Oh
and
my
then
gosh,
turned
that
around
was
and add that.
good.
It was a breakfast beer for sure because it was way caffeinated.
Oh, 100%.
awesome.
Definitely helps when you get here at like 5 a.m.
Yeah,
Just,
exactly.
you know what?
So
That
I
would
just,
be-
I just
Sorry,
took a I just took a sip of this. Your description of it was spot on. It's great. Like it's
Yeah?
very much a stout, but the weight of it, like it's light and very drinkable, but it's just it has all of the aspects of a stout. Like it's coffee, it's dark, but it's not like you take a drink of
It's
it.
not cloying.
Yeah,
Well,
yeah,
that's what I was shooting for. I'm glad that you enjoyed
yeah.
it.
It's great. It's I don't know. It's really good. I could definitely down a few of these for sure.
We got more.
Pretty far into the process.
But if they're excited about it and wanting to drink it, the pilot batch that we did of the double IPA the other day, Scott's wife Daphne was the first one that got to try it off tap.
That is
we had
so
just
cool.
cleaned the line, and it was 10:30 in the morning, and I was like, "Oh, Daphne, I got a beer for you to try," and filled her up a 10-ounce like one of our small pour glasses, and I was like, "Well, shit." I hope you had breakfast. It's 8.5%.
Hey, like we
She's
say,
got an excellent palate, but sure enough, before she left, she told Scott he needed to come by and try it. Steven had heard about it, so
That's so cool. I already know what you're about to say.
like we say over here at AUA, you can't drink all day if you don't start early.
damn right.
It's true. It's 100% true.
So I have a question. You may have already answered it. Is there any specific beer or a brewery that inspired like either a certain beer or inspired like your ideas or to start this?
I got to go back to Green Man.
That's what I figured. I thought you might have already
They're just
answered
rock
it, but
solid. They've
yeah.
been doing it for a long time.
Yeah.
Um,
Especially to be from around here too.
but
Like,
yeah, they're local to me.
Yeah.
I mean, Asheville's an hour down the road,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
Literally.
yeah. I can hit up a few breweries and still
Because
make
this place is pretty new to Johnson City. Yeah, this place has only been. How long has this place been open?
It's not even
We
been.
opened July 21st of last year.
So it's not even been a year yet, has it?
No, not
Oh
at all.
shit! It's literally not been a year.
So that's why we're kind of in uncharted territory as far as
Yeah.
what are sales like, what to expect,
Right.
what the demand's going to be.
Yeah, because I guess that was my next question. What is like the next thing that you would like to accomplish as a whole for Tennessee Hills? Because I know you're the head brewer, but like, what is for you personally? I guess,
I can't wait for the day that I go into a grocery store and see a can of Tennessee Hills.
dude, that would
and
be
the craft
so
beer.
cool. Can
I'm
you
going to
like?
buy them all.
Oh, I would. The first ones that come out, I would literally.
That
buy,
would just
like,
be because it's
It's going to
like
be a
everything-
photo shoot.
it's like
at the
everything's
checkout line, too.
yours.
Yeah, and it's
like,
like-
it's yours, and you're selling to people people that you will never know that they bought your product and they're enjoying it at home. Like that's just something that I would sit on my couch and be like, damn, someone really might be sitting on a couch on a Friday night. Someone might be having a hell of a Friday night off of your beer right now.
Yeah.
So, so whenever you talked about your friend helping you, did he ever? Because did you? I guess we've touched on this a bit, but were any of your friends or family who were like, "Bruh, you have a Gatorade cooler. Like, what are you trying to do here?"
Yeah. Did anyone try to tell you like that this wasn't going to work or anything?
Well, my parents don't drink at all.
Mine don't
They
either.
were not fans.
My parents don't even know about this podcast, low key, but
So, all right, I guess we're good.
okay. Hopefully,
And
this
if
fixes
not,
something.
I mean, hell, we still were able to have beers with some cool people. So,
Yeah, cheers to that. man.
I'll cheers to
Happy
that.
Sunday,
Absolutely.
y'all.
Happy Sunday. Happy Sunday. Gee.
Good luck on Monday.
for real.
For real. But yeah, I'm sure that like some of your people were probably like, Danny, you have a Gatorade cooler in our garage. This looks a little suspect. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, you're not wrong.
But no, I agree with that because like we're from a very, very small town. And so like this is very deep, I guess. But like this right now to my parents would be like, go to church. Like, what are you doing? I'm just going to be straight up.
Yeah.
But like to me, I don't understand that thought process to me. Like,
I think a little bit of it is the little bit that I've tried to make sense out of, or I've told myself I've made sense out of, is when my parents were going to bars, it was juke joints, just run down, people shit-housed and falling all over themselves. They never got to experience a brewery where it's a very much family and dog-friendly environment.
Literally,
where,
yes.
It's a social thing, almost as much as a restaurant. Before I got into beer, like I wanted to, I was big into smoking meats and doing barbecue. It's like, well, damn, I can sell 20 people one $5 barbecue sandwich, or I can sell 20 people $5 pints. And
I think, honest to God, it's honestly like a cultural aspect as well. Because like most people, like my parents, they think like, drinking, you're like, oh, you're getting wasted, like you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. You're doing all these horrible things, and I'm like, okay, but what about the other side of it, where like you make a literal living and a career, and you're
and it's a craft.
You're very. It's a craft. Yeah, it's an art.
Some artistic freedom.
It's an art. Honestly, I think it's an
art.
art. It's literally an art. Like so much. You're very passionate, but like you're knowledgeable, and like it's a literal craft. Like you make this. Like it's insane. And so I think that's the other side that I want people to realize, that like it's not all about getting drunk, getting whatever. It's a craft.
Yeah, come in and have 3 or 4 and feel a little bit better than you did when you got here, or when you leave, you'll feel better when you. I butchered that.
You're good. I'm just going to take a pause for a second. So with this sour beer, this Gosa, which is incredible, is there a way, say you wanted like a strawberry sour or like a green apple sour, is there a way you could incorporate like fruit into the batch to make it what you wanted it?
Absolutely.
Yeah? Okay.
We actually did a small batch of that with strawberry.
Oh, really?
And actually aged it on fresh strawberries that we cut up for hell and ever. But
I was just about to say, that's a lot of strawberries to have to cut.
It's a lot of strawberries, yeah.
A lot.
More strawberries than you ever want to see.
Oh, I'm sure, to the process.
So did y'all have to go through and hand cut all of the strawberries?
Absolutely, yeah.
How long did that take?
A minute.
A long time, literally.
It's a lot of strawberries.
But I just think it's cool that like if you wanted to do like a blackberry sour, you could just throw that shit in there.
Yeah. That's what we would do.
That's so cool. That's so cool.
So our farmhouse ale, one of my favorite beers that I made when I was brewing in the garage was the farmhouse ale, and after it was done fermenting, I would rack it over onto fresh peaches. And like no joke, the first day that I did that was the day that Greg Allman died. So I had to call it my Eat a Peach Saison.
So I'm not very who is that?
The Allman Brothers, Greg Allman.
Is it like the literal, like almonds?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, that was the day he died. So it was my Eat a Peach Saison, and we've talked about doing it and trying to use the purees and extracts and all that, but no way that I'm going to let that come out of the wall without being aged on fresh South Carolina peaches.
Oh, 100%, yeah.
So the batch that we're going to do this spring, I've already talked with Devin, our bar manager. We both got trucks. We're going to drive to Greenville and throw as many peaches as we can in the back of the truck. We're going to drive it up here, all hands on deck. Everybody's peeling and quartering peaches.
You got to peel them too. That's
oh yeah,
It's
even worse. It's way worse.
But it's worth it though. It's actually really cool that you like put that much effort into like creating something.
Yeah. I mean, there's shortcuts around everything, but if you're going to do it, you might as well do it right.
Yeah, I agree.
Right.
You might as well be able to laugh while you're doing it.
Literally.
I can tell you didn't like the stout. The glass had a hole in it.
Stout probably is your favorite drink, yeah?
I don't know about favorite, but I do love a good stout. Favorite's hard. That's a tough question.
I don't know about, honestly, I just love a sour beer. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is.
So when you come up with have the idea for a new recipe, how much prep time is usually involved with before you get started?
Yeah, that's a good question. What's from like, you have an idea.
From conception, I guess.
Yeah,
until
from conception to glass,
Yeah.
yes.
On the pilot system, it's a little bit more forgiving. We do 15-gallon pilot batches, so we get one half-barrel keg out of it. I can normally turn those around in 2 weeks.
Oh shit. It's not bad.
The bigger batches take longer, more volume, a lot of work for the yeast to do their thing, but typically can turn those around in 2 weeks and have a pretty good idea of whether or not it's something that we want to scale up and run on a full batch, or if it's something that nobody needs to send down the drain.
Literally.
Are there so like the Big Honey Blonde does light variations batch tips
That go into it, but one thing that we have tried to dial in and make is water chemistry. So we run all of our water through a filter that will take out any chlorines or chloramines or whatever, and we know what we've got to work with, but we will adjust the concentration of certain minerals in the beer to accentuate what we're trying to get out of the beer. So we've got our water quality report, and now we know exactly, I can put it into a program and see where my levels are versus where I want them to be to make the beer as good as it could be. This is your starting water. This is what you need to add to it to make it consistent, because ultimately water is the most prominent ingredient in a beer.
I've heard that before, that water is pretty much the main.
Mm-hmm. So how do you determine if your water that you're using is...
I guess you have to have it tested by other people, right? They have to come in and pretty much test the water.
Yeah, we take samples and send it to a lab, and they tell us how much sodium, chloride, calcium, just all this, everything that could be dissolved in water. We know exactly how many parts per million there are and what we need to add to it.
So would the taste of the water more or less alter the overall taste of the beer? I would assume, yeah?
Not so much, because the water would taste different.
Could you take tap water for the Big Honey Blonde versus whatever water you use now? Would there be a distinctive...
I don't know that there would be a very distinct difference, but I can make a great beer, but being able to recreate that beer is the challenge. So trying to control every element.
So
it sounded good in my head.
Right, no. So whenever you have, you come up with an idea for a beer, is there one right now that's sitting up here on the wall that you came up with just randomly off the top of your head? You're like, you know what, I think if I tasted another beer and you're like, you know what, if I mix this and this, I think I could get this outcome? Or do you just make them and you're like, because obviously in your head whenever you're making them, you're like, it's going to taste this way.
I have an idea in my mind of what I want it to taste like, for sure.
Okay.
Granted, how I want it to taste versus how it's perceived by people that are actually coming in here and putting money on the bar to pay for one is a different thing. But the cream ale comes to mind. I thought that was kind of a end of summer seasonal, something fun, but we can't keep it in. It just goes and goes and goes.
Really? Which isn't a bad thing, I guess.
Exactly, yeah, job security.
So what classifies a head brewer to you? Do you think there is one? Because, whenever you start in your garage, most people probably wouldn't say that, oh, he's, the head brewer, he knows his shit, he knows what he's doing. Versus to you now, which most people would be like, you definitely know what you're doing.
I think head brewer is a title that is associated with anybody that is making beer. Master brewer is the term that I've shied away from, and they've tried to give me that title, and I've told them until I'm recognized farther than Johnson City that I will not accept that title. The head brewer. I don't want to claim to be a master brewer, because there's so much science and so many different things involved with making beer that does anybody ever really master it? I mean, Ken Grossman, he dialed it in, but I'm not on his level. He's a master brewer.
Right.
I'm just fortunate that people are still here drinking. It's the accolades that come from the beer. We're actually sending beers into the World Beer Cup this year.
Oh, really?
That's a thing? What is that? The World Beer Cup?
It's the Olympics of beer. I think 66 countries are involved this year. 2,500 breweries.
So can you watch
9,000 beers are entered. So there's a cost associated to it. But,
of course. You're right.
but the results are public knowledge.
Yeah.
So we're going to send 4 beers in.
What are you sending? Can you say?
Yeah. The Danny's Irish Stout,
Okay.
because I'm proud of that recipe. The Pale Ale, Sergeant York's Farmhouse Ale, and the ESB.
So if you get chosen, like,
Oh, if I win,
it's over for you.
Oh, dude, they're gonna have to open up the doors a little bit more to get my head in.
I don't blame you though. That's like huge.
And then you can call me a master brewer.
Yeah.
After that.
Okay.
But
Okay. I would
that
love
ES
to.
that
Once you
ESB
win, I would love to get you back on and be like, Master Brewer Danny.
Oh,
How do you feel?
Yeah.
What are you doing now? Going to Disney World.
yeah, exactly.
That ESB is unlike any ESB I've ever had. It's very unique.
Thank you.
It really is.
Is that something that you like
And I
strive
did
for?
say-
You're like, I want.
I tasted Twizzlers when I had it. I don't know if that's.
He did say that.
Well, you tasted cherry that you get
Okay.
from Twizzlers, which is a byproduct of fermentation for the specific strain of yeast that we used. So you're not wrong at all. I didn't cringe at that as much as I did Blondie.
Blondie.
You gonna leave me hanging on that one?
he's over here on his phone, not even paying attention.
Sorry. What happened?
He just shit on you for calling a blonde a blondie.
I do have a, because like I never know if it's blonde or if it's blondie, and then if I say, I don't want to sound stupid, but
As soon as you start getting close to the
Once you've had about-
U.S.-Canada border, it could be a blonde.
once you've had about 4, like the name, or once you've had about 4, the name doesn't really matter.
Yeah, exactly. Give me another one.
That's fair.
So the mat, what is this? Where does it take place? Is there like a first, second, third, or no?
Where's what take place?
The brew cup or the
beer-
Oh, the World Beer Cup?
Yeah.
The beer Olympics. Yes.
Yeah, the Beer Olympics. We have to send each style that we enter. We have to bottle and package and send to Colorado to be judged, and it'll be judged in Colorado. But I think the awards banquet coincides with the Great American Beer Fest that's in Minneapolis over Cinco de Mayo.
Great. So you don't
Is
even
there
like,
a way
get
to
be
watch
there.
this? Is it a thing you can watch?
I was
or
about to say
do you
because
just-
you don't even get to be there, so you don't even know if they like it or not until.
I just want them to call me and tell me that I need to be there. I've actually got a deep sea fishing trip. Like me and my buddies go on a deep sea fishing trip every year, and we're supposed to be gone on Cinco de Mayo, which is when the awards banquet is. I don't want to cancel, but I would love to have to cancel.
100%. I
Yeah.
agree.
For that reason, that would be a.
I don't have a suit.
A
But
worthy
I'll get
reason.
a suit for that one.
Just rent a suit. 100%.
That's cool. I didn't know the World Beer Cup was a thing, but
So you probably get like a plaque or something, yeah?
Tesla.
so what place or do they place them like first, second, third for each beer? I assume.
Yeah, I think so. There are some beer competitions that actually I think the World Beer Cup is one that they don't have to get measures up, and highest ranking beer could be a silver, it could be a bronze.
Okay. Do they have like a scale, like what they go off of, like taste?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I assume so.
Yeah, they're trained judges. It's not just
Right.
open up the doors and everybody come in here and try this and tell us what you think.
That makes sense, honestly.
So what? Obviously, you want the highest medal you can get, but would you be cool if you got any award? Do they have like first, second, third place, or is it just?
Dude, if I get mentioned at all,
That's the way I would be.
honorable mention
Yeah.
is a win
Yeah.
for me.
Anything. I'd be like, yes, I made
Yeah.
it.
But regardless of how that works out, as long as there are still people sitting here and drinking it
Yeah.
and enjoying it and leaving here in a little bit better mind state than they were when they got here, then I'm going to call it a win.
I agree with that, and I think that's a good note to end it. Because I finished my beer, and you ended on a solid note. So,
Same. I don't know if I'm.
Danny, thank you so much.
Dude, cheers, you guys. Thank you
For
all
doing
for
this.
having me.
No, cheers.
Never got to do this before. I was having these different moments.
Thank you
Let us
so
come
much.
in and do this.
Y'all welcome
Thank you
anytime.
genuinely so much for doing this, and honestly, I hope to get you. 1 second. Are we sure we're going on there? Okay. Hopefully, I hope to get you on another episode, maybe in the future. So, thank you so much for being here, Danny.
Absolutely. You know where I'm at anytime.
Absolutely. I'll
Hell
get
yeah.
you in the back. All right.
Cheers,
All
y'all.
right. We'll see y'all.
See ya.